This is the start of Judson Everett's 2.5-hour commute. If there's no traffic.
The commute has just kind of become a normal part of life.
He's a professor of sociology at Loyola University. During the school year, traveling to the Chicago campus from Warsaw 3 times a week.
They think I'm crazy.
In a few years, his drive may be limited to a short trip downtown.
I actually often wonder why we don't have this already.
Warsaw is one of the planned stops along the Midwest Connect corridor, a train route stretching across 5 states, connecting Indiana, the Crossroads of America, to Chicago, Illinois, Columbus, Ohio, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. How big is this project, potentially?
Well, it's huge.
Kosciuszko Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Rob Parker sees the return to the tracks as a transformational opportunity. These tracks could directly connect this town of 16,000 to cities with a combined population totaling about 4.5 million. Parker sees it as a new opportunity to build around Warsaw's multi-billion-dollar medical orthopedics industry, attract talent, and develop the city's downtown.
It allows for cities to really start growing again from the core. The car took us out to suburbs, but the core of a city is where the heartbeat of a community is.
A train route to Chicago has been discussed since before current Warsaw Mayor Joe Talmer was elected in 2012. Even if approved, construction will run past his final day in office at the end of his current term.
It's a huge project, but that's the problem. It's a huge project.
Mayor Talmer says he's learned not to get his hopes up. The location of a potential stop in Warsaw isn't even set in stone. It could be the old train depot, or even overlooking Winona Lake.
I can't get excited because I'm now more realistic than I was then, but I still have a passion to get it done. I mean, I would literally love to jump on the train and head up to Chicago.
At the decommissioned train station in downtown Fort Wayne, which would also be included on the route, President of the Northern Indiana Passenger Rail Association, Fred Lanahan, believes planning is on the fast track. Far enough along, it's not a matter of if this will happen, just when.
You know, we figure our time has come.
The Midwest Connect project is one of 3 grant applications out of Indiana, along with a proposed route from Indianapolis to Chicago and another connecting Louisville to Indy. Federal dollars would cover up to 90% of upfront costs to build the infrastructure. The project would add thousands of construction jobs to build new signaling, side rails to pass freight trains, then long-term workers would be needed for upkeep of the track. NIPRA studies project revenues would begin covering operating costs in 10 to 14 years, providing transportation across 5 states from the heart of 16 communities.
And cheaper transportation for me to go to Chicago, for example, for less than it would cost me to park in downtown Chicago if I drove.
A project like this happens in 3 phases: planning, engineering, and construction. NIPRA believes if the $500,000 federal grant comes through to get this project through the planning phase, then the $2.5 billion rail line from Chicago to Pittsburgh, along with the train stops in Valparaiso, Plymouth, and Warsaw, could be here in as little as 4 years.
Much of the emphasis was on highways and roads and the automotive industry and frankly, sprawl. A lot of the oomph in these core cities went out.
The route from Chicago to Fort Wayne will use existing freight line, which shuts down the immediate possibility of high-speed rail. Lanahan says trains would run about 75 to 80 miles per hour, on par with Amtrak service. Then, the hope is to incrementally speed up. But for many areas, it still could be a faster trip to Chicago destinations, even with a shuttle or cab ride from Union Station.
With so much traffic, as you add a lane to these big highways, they fill up.
I just think it gives more people more options.
And for someone like Judson, he's open to ditching the road for the rail if this project can truly connect the crossroads of America.